want to be able as a business owner to look at your analytics and all the things that you can see and see how to do better and get better results using your analytics. It's a really great tool to know exactly what to do or how to do it or know who to go to help you with that so that you can see the results you're getting or stop doing things that are pointless in your business and are getting you nowhere. But do you know how to measure those analytics? Do you know how to use them to measure the results? Well, today on the show, I have my guest who is an expert at that, and he's going to give us all the secrets and decode exactly how to do that. But you know the drill. You need to sit right there to hear what he has to say.
Welcome to Waist Up Wardrobe. I'm Christine Vartanian, an attorney turned personal style expert and image consultant. As the founder of Jade House of Style, I am passionate about unveiling the inner confidence of my clients by developing their personal style and dressing them for success. But is getting dressed up still important in our virtual world? Well, that's where my experience can help with what I call Waist Up Wardrobe. Waist Up Wardrobe is a podcast for all things you need to conduct an outstanding Zoom meeting. It's about how to dress for the camera, but it's not just about the clothes. It's about everything you need to know to show up on brand and professionally for the camera. Join me in the Waist Up Wardrobe studio to discuss how to navigate this virtual world and dominate from behind the desk.
Hello, Waist Up Wardrobe Nation. Thank you for joining us for yet another episode of Waist Up Wardrobe. And today we have a real treat for every entrepreneur. I know we all, as entrepreneurs, love to know how to analyze the results we're getting and read our analytics. Well, today we're going to dive deep into that. But before we get started, I just want to say thank you so much to my awesome producer, Rick Moscoso, who's always in the production room. There he is, making this whole show possible. And he's so dedicated that he's actually on vacation and doing this from a library in some area. I don't know. I think he's in Wisconsin. So anyway, well, thank you, Rick, for your dedication, for making this show possible and all the technicalities possible around it. Thank you, Waist Up Wardrobe Nation, for showing up to listen to another really, great entrepreneur who's going to leave us with so many really good tips to take away and put right into action. This is sort of the idea behind the show is the entrepreneurial shows that we bring you. We want you to be able to take the nuggets and really implement right away because, what good is it if you just kind of hear it and then it's not easy to implement yourself right away? So that's sort of the goal. And thank you. Actually, I want to say that that we are on multi platforms. We are on Facebook every Thursday at 11:30 live with a new show. We are on YouTube. You can catch us on YouTube, and you can actually stream us on YouTube. We're on Instagram, and we are on iTunes. So if you can't watch us, but you can listen to us while you're taking that walk on the beach, please do so. And if you're so inclined, rate us, review us, and let us know how we're doing. Okay, so I also wanted to say that you all know that my business revolves around brand styling and image styling my clients from head to toe with wardrobe, but also styling their spaces and their studios from ceiling to floor. So today I just wanted to do a little plug. I just got these statement earrings, these like hoop in the teardrop shape, and they are just in hot off the press. I never do any product promotion of my products on the podcast, but I couldn't wait to share it with everybody because people are always asking me, where do you get that earring from? Where is your necklace from? So just know you can reach out and I'll have them ready here for you if you feel like it's something you have to add to your jewelry box. Okay, now let me brag on my guest today. My guest, Matthew Sanjari, is somebody who experienced a life-altering experience accident that derailed his career in life. And we all know that when that happens, it changes us. Things like that make us hit rock bottom really do change us and change our perspective and change sometimes our trajectory in life. And he's going to get to share that more with us because I'm sure it's such a powerful story that a lot of people will be able to relate to that. Matt spent much of the next decade after that overcoming chronic pain, depression, and a disability to become a serial entrepreneur. As the founder of Prime Consulting, he leverages 15 years of his ownership and public speaking strategies to scale businesses and to help people achieve a personal and business growth. Matthew's holistic approach blends operational strategy and personal development, two of the things I love most that we're going to be talking about, to help elevate his clients from day-to-day operations to executive roles. And he stays true to his motto, build people, build business. So please help me welcome Matthew to the show and learn a little bit more about your motto, Matt. I'm going to start calling you Matt. That's okay, right? We're good with Matt.
Matt works. I'm in for Matt.
Okay, excellent. Okay, so your motto, build people, build business. Can you expand on that, why that is your motto and what it actually means to you?
Yeah, it's a great question. And it's funny because I know you talked about analytics. So I feel like at times people go down these roads where these two things are at odds, right? It's like numbers, 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 and people, people, people. But I think the reason why that's my motto is I've come to learn in my own life and in the people I've coached and the businesses I've built, if we build into people, if we take care of people, if we treat them well, if we build healthy cultures, then we will build business. And for all of the technology out there, I love AI. I love all the advancements in technology. At the end of the day, every business is actually built on people. It started, your business, Christine, started with someone coming up with an idea and, someone starting something. So, yeah, at the end of the day, we build into people. We're actually going to build our businesses. And I think that is the most important metric that we can ever take care of.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. And I just want to also mention that you are cutting out a little bit. So in case we drop off, just come right back in. I think we have a little bit of a connection problem. Just there, and there is a little bit of delay. Just putting it out there just for your information. But that's exactly right. It's like everything starts with people, and everything with a person starts in their mind, right? They think of an idea or they think of a thought, and the thought becomes a thing. Now I sound like I'm preaching from Think and Grow Rich because I think that's where I got that from. And they're the ones who execute it and grow it and nurture it and create it and then put it out into the world. So I can totally understand. At least that's how I interpret it. When you build people up and you give them the foundation, you give them the tools, or you have the tools and know how to use them, then that helps you build business. How do you relate to that?
Yeah, I love that because I think if we put ourselves in the shoes of others, it doesn't matter what line of work you're in, what industry, everything rises and falls on people. So even if you're a solopreneur probably has people as clients. If you're a factory worker working an assembly line, well, you're working side by side with people. At the end of the day, our businesses are built on people, and as people, we're built on relationships. So it's really important that we show some intentionality on that front. I think that business, that's something that can often be neglected because we sometimes give way to the weightier things, profits, revenues, expenses, etc.
Yeah. Yeah. And this whole conversation, which I didn't intend to go this way, this is how the show always goes. Like you start talking about something so interesting and it just kind of goes on a different direction. But I want to put a pin in that because I want to come back to that motto. But I also want people to get to know you on a personal level. So I'm going to do a little 60 seconds to get to know you. And then we're going to jump right into all the meat of the conversation. And we're going to talk about the motto from a different perspective. Okay. East Coast or West Coast?
Ooh, I'm on the East Coast, but I love the West Coast.
Yeah. So West?
West it is. West is best.
Yeah, well, you can't beat, the West Coast. I mean, it is really beautiful, but there's the charm of the East Coast. That's a whole other thing. So they both have their benefits, I would say, right?
Totally.
Yeah.
I'm a sucker for a good beach. Put me on the beach.
Oh, okay. Yes, yes, yes. And okay. So how about Disney World or Disneyland or neither?
Ooh, that's a tough one. I'm gonna go Disney World because it's bigger and there's more to do.
Yeah. And you are from Florida.
And
Yeah.
I think I live maybe 12 minutes from Disney. So
Oh, well, see that, yeah, I can understand why. Okay, here's this or that question is kind of deeply philosophical, I think, or it could be. Um, and here's a question: do things in life happen to you or for you?
oh, that is a great question. Can I cheat and play the middle and say that both are true? Um, and
Okay.
I think the reason why I'd say that is, you know, one of the biggest things I work on with my clients on the coaching side is this idea that we either live by default or we live by design. And I think we do both. And so when things happen to you, I think that's the attitude of living by default, where I'm, you know what, life just happens and I roll with the punches and it is what it is. And when things happen for you, I think that's often because we're living life by design and we get to kind of take control of our future. We feel empowered. We feel like we can take ownership. So I think both can be true. I'd like to think that I would love for my life and for the people around me to be more in the second camp where things happen for us, not just to us.
I honestly like I love that things happen to us by default or by design. And I so completely that resonates with me a lot, very deeply, actually. Um, just as I reflect on my personal life and the way I like to live life efficiently and by design, and how it can be really hard to get your relationships to be that way, right? Because you might have a relationship where somebody that you're in a relationship, whether it's like a parent-child relationship or a spouse or whatever, they're living by, let's say, default. You're living by design, and then that can be a cause of conflict. So I really resonate with that, and it might be something we come back to. But I do think that when we take that, when something happens that is rock bottom or a tragic thing that happens in people's lives, then looking at that as hitting rock bottom, a breakdown, but really realizing that from that breakdown, a breakthrough can be born. And I think that is kind of the difference between looking at something, you know, uh, that this thing happened to me or happened for me, and that's kind of the positive twist. So I really, this conversation can keep going. So I'm just going to put that on the shelf for now. And I really want to dive into your technical, you know, um, mind about what do you mean when you talk about measuring what you manage? Because I know that's a big aspect of the training and consulting you do for your clients. So help us understand what that actually encompasses.
Yeah, to give people a disclaimer, I was not a data guy. I'm not analytical by trade. I'm an A type, big ideas, dreams person. And, before I got into consulting and coaching, I ran a marketing company for 9 years. And for the first 3 years, I had this idea that I was like, you know what, as long as I'm good at sales, we're going to be fine. Well, I learned really quickly that as quickly as I was getting clients, I would lose them because I actually didn't know anything about business. And I didn't know what was profitable, what wasn't profitable, what was a good idea, what was the expenditure of my time. And so about 3 years in, I came to this place where I was like, something needs to change. And that something is me. I need to change. I need to change my approach. I need to be really more grounded in what are the things that actually matter. And so it took me down this journey. And so, when you ask that question, there's this age old business adage, right? That you can't manage what you're not measuring. And I want to take it a step further in that, you can't multiply what you're not managing. And so if you want to have any any chance at growing and growing sustainably, we need to know what are the key indicators of success, not the indicators that everyone else is talking about. You can turn on a financial program and they'll talk about revenue and stock price. And at the end of the day, those things may not be relevant to you in your business. So I love to go on a journey with people where I say, from a philosophical perspective, what are the things that matter to you? Great. Let's find ways to quantify that. Those are the things I want you to become religious and obsess over tracking. Because if you do those things on a regular basis, chances are they're probably going to hit your bottom line and you're going to build something sustainable.
Okay, well, I love the idea of not only measuring what you manage, but multiplying what you manage. So one results in the other, right? If you can measure it, then you can figure out how you're going to scale it or multiply, which I think that makes a lot of sense, has a lot of wisdom in it. Because you don't know how to multiply something don't understand the inner workings of, or don't understand why it's happening, or, like there's no rhyme or reason to it. You don't know what you're contending with, really, if you don't explore and measure and analyze it. So can you give us an example, like a concrete example of maybe somebody that you helped, because you said you take them on this journey where you start by asking what's important to them. So can you give us an example of somebody you did that with, and the results that were, if it's not too big of a vast of an answer, but just kind of in a nutshell, what that would look like, or with an example about it?
Yeah. So I've got two that come to mind, but I'll get to the first one and we'll save the second one for later. So the
Okay.
first one that I loved to invoke is I always ask the question, Christine, what's success for you? And you're not allowed to give me a number. You can't invoke a number. You can't say, Matt, success for me looks like $5 million, or it looks like driving a Lamborghini. What does success look like for you if numbers weren't involved? And the reason why I ask that question is I play a game called the 5 Whys. And I want to go 5 Whys deep, essentially, to find out what is it that they're actually trying to build. And here's the example. For me, I want to build a business that is successful and makes $5 million a year. Why? Because I want to have money to be able to do things. Why? Because I believe in freedom of time and I want to actually be able to dictate when I work, where I work, and have that freedom of choice. Why? And it's about this point, Christine, that you start to get on an emotional level. And it's really important that you go there, because we're not supposed to. And now I went into, well, because I didn't, as a kid, never really got to explore different things and never got to go travel. Why? Because we didn't have enough. And I went 5 Whys, and I actually discovered that most of my reason for being in business, outside of having a good idea, is I was scared of lacking in a previous life. And so at the end of the day, now that I had that why, I wanted to measure those things. My financial goal, $5 million, great. But what I wanted to do was measure, okay, well, am I traveling? Am I spending time with my family? Because those are the things that matter. I didn't get to do this. And so I quickly identified the things that actually mattered for me. One of them was not working 70 hours a week like I was in the beginning, and actually taking breaks and vacations. So that became a measurement of my success and being able to free myself up. And so just playing that game and going down that road, it allows me to identify what are the things that actually matter and what do I think success looks like inside.
Yeah. So it's fun. It's interesting you took us on that why journey, because in my business, when I work with my clients for brand styling, and brand styling is, kind of designing it from an aesthetic standpoint, their brand colors and their brand tagline and all those little assets that go into a brand. But also I always start with the why, but not just the why. I call it the why to the why to the why. It's digging deep, going down into layers, which is that. So I totally understand how you position that. And the reason I do that, which is we touched on the why to the why to the why. The why is a kind of a superficial why. The first why is like, I love to make women feel great in their outfits, right? That's my why. But why do I like that? What is the why to the why? Why is that rewarding for me? And then it becomes, well, every woman deserves to show up in business feeling her most confident and most fabulous so that she can, be a go-getter, right? And then the why to the why to the why, well, like you said, it touches that emotional piece for me. And that is, I grew up seeing my mom not really care for herself as much as I would have liked her to. And I thought, gosh, if she just cared for herself just a little bit more, how much more happy I would be, the people around her would be for her, So very interesting. It really shows that understanding and drilling down to the visceral why, that's what gets you out of bed in the morning. Every woman should have that, right? Every woman should have that ability to feel fabulous, and I get to help them do that. So especially when you hit rock bottom in business and you're having a bad day, because we all know there are bad days and good days, right? And you're like, I don't know if this is even working, and I kind of want to quit. You know that you're doing something not for the monetary reward that comes, once you're serving that visceral purpose, right? But then you're also you're waking up to do something is important, that is helping people and serving people, and that I think is what keeps entrepreneurs going in their missions, right? What do you think?
Yeah, totally. I love how you framed it. I heard this interview. I think it's Mattel that makes Barbie, and I heard one of their VPs speak about this like 30 years ago. I was watching an old interview, and
Yeah.
they asked him. They said, "Why don't you have anyone at the end of the assembly line?" And he said, "We have people stationed all throughout the assembly line, but not at the end, because if we can control the process, we can control the product." And that really spoke to me because so often we're obsessed with the end goal, with the result. But like you're saying, if we actually just commit to the process of understanding our why, of just showing up, of being present, of looking, of feeling our best, the things that are within our control, the result will come. It's inevitable. So let's be
Mm.
obsessed with the process. And that's really why I try and take people down this road of data collection, of identifying what matters to them, because if they just focus on what's in front of them and they get really good at that commitment side, inevitably they will hit their goals.
Yeah. No, I think it's really good advice for entrepreneurs to understand that is the foundation. So when you say you use the data or the analytics and you talk about, asking what their why is that part of the data that you utilize? Okay. And what else?
Yeah,
What other
yeah,
analytics?
yeah. So I mean, one of the first two practical ways that I do this, and everyone can do this that's watching, is I like to do what I call a calendar audit, and I like to do a financial audit. And so all that means is I want to um, show the value in how I spend my time and how I spend my money, especially in business, but also in life. So from a calendar side, I've got 5 or 6 different colors, whatever my core values are. So for me, it's relationships, it's finance, it's health. And I lay them all out. I did this, I started this about 4 or 5 years ago. And I laid out all the different things in my calendar and I color coded them. And I went, oh, I say my health is a priority, but I spend 30 minutes on this a week. And other things that didn't feel like a priority, I was spending a lot of time on. Same with my finances. I was working with a client recently, and one of their values, Christine, was they were like, "We're generous. We love generosity as a company." Oh, we got in there, and I did a character audit, and I did a financial audit. And by the end of the year, one of the things identified was, I think the entire company had spent 2 hours volunteering at the end of the year, and I think they gave 0.6% to charity. And
Mm.
I presented the findings to them and said, yeah, I said, hey guys, what do you think about this? And they were shocked. They were like, and I asked the question, I said, do you think this is in line? Is the execution in line with your idea, with your vision? And they went, no. Again, there was no mechanism to properly manage or capture the things that they said that mattered to them. And so as a result, they were living by default. There was no design. There was no intentionality of, hey, once a month, guys, we're going to commit to this endeavor. There was no design of, hey, let's open it up and everybody can submit charities. They were living by default, hoping that they would get to the result instead of living on purpose by design and saying, we're not going to wait to get to the result. We're actually going to drive the efforts that matter to get there.
Yeah, all these really important concepts, right? We're talking about what matters to them. That really defines their values as a company, or even on a personal level, you have your personal values, the core values, right? So if a core value is to be a giver to the community, and you find that the percentage of time and effort and money you're utilizing toward that isn't significant, then you realize, wait a minute, am I really staying true to my values upon which I built this company? So I think that's really really great. So let me ask you, so we talked about what is important to people, what matters. Is there any technical analytics that come into the work that you do with your clients, like, measuring how, if you're doing the analytics, how to read the analytics on Google, or anything technical, digital that helps you help other companies kind of scale or get better at what they're doing?
Yeah, we can go down that road. Things that I identified.
Ooh, we're really losing you. We're really losing you. I'm wondering if maybe, Matt, you want to exit and come back into the studio, because we're really, oh, there you are, but you're frozen.
Oh, no.
So, I'm so this conversation we're having with Matt is really so fundamental to every entrepreneur and so important. It's that conversation around foundations and and values, that you want to stay true in your company to core values. And if you are if you're building something and you find that whatever it is that is important to you and matters to you isn't really being achieved by exploring your why and the values of the company, then you're off, right? And I think that's what Matt is trying to convey. But also, so those are sort of the abstract analytics, right? Your core values, you want to stay aligned with them, living and building a business by design rather than by default, really understanding what the intention and foundation of the business is and growing it in alignment with that. That has everything to do with being on brand, right? So that's one thing. And now I wanted to talk to him about pure technical analytics. And so this is where we're going to pick up when Matt comes back into the studio, but really to help entrepreneurs be more productive, to be successful, and to be able to use the analytics, not only their values, but also to measure what you are doing so that you can improve your results and improve how you scale or build the business. So it looks like Matthew is trying to get back into the studio. So hopefully we'll have him back soon. But in the meantime, I would love to have Rick come out on screen here, because actually Rick has been instrumental in helping me build this podcast and understanding what the goals of the podcast are. So Rick, if you can come on, because I kind of want to pick your brain about this a little bit. I know you have a lot of experience with analytics and so forth. And I don't know if Matt is in the studio yet, but it sounds like he's still kind of trying to get in, right?
Yeah, still trying to get in.
Okay. So, I only brought you in because I know you have technical understanding of analytics and Google Analytics and so forth. And, we spent some time in the show right now talking about how values impact the results that we get. But how about
let's have Matt answer that question. He's back.
Yeah, let's have Matt answer a question. Hi, Matt. Welcome back.
Guys, I'm so sorry. I had no idea what's happening here. I apologize.
That's okay. That's okay. This is the beauty of being live. Everybody gets to see what happens when you're live. Things happen. So anyway, but we were talking about analytics from a different perspective. We talked about values and core values and making sure you're aligned and that the results you're getting are aligned with what matters to you as a company. How about concrete analytics? Can you give us a sense of some of the concrete analytics you would use to measure results, in the marketing or sales arena?
Yeah. So, there's so many tools out there. For a lot of businesses, one of the things that I identified was we have so many marketing analytics and we have a few sales analytics, and there's a ton out there. People can use, on the lower end, you can go use Google Data Studio is available. There's different tools like that. So marketing and sales, you can find whatever you need to. I honestly love to just use a good old-fashioned Excel spreadsheet or a Google Sheets. And the reason why is the thing that I find that is not captured very well. Again, remember, there's plenty of, if you use QuickBooks, there's financial analytics. With your marketing tools, there's plenty of things out there. But the things that we don't track, Christine, often are our productivity metrics. And what do I mean by that? This is quite possibly one of the most beneficial things any business can do. So I recently was with a client and they have an operations manager, and data that you're referring to from a technical perspective, it all made sense. The website, they're getting tons of leads. Revenue, it's up. And yet somehow they were not only not increasing in profit, sometimes they were going down. And I said, well, we need to find a way to capture this data. So here's what we did. It's a simple exercise everyone can do. I took the operations manager's salary, which ended up being about $35 an hour. And I said, hey, can you please list off every task that you do? And so she did. And then what we did is we assigned a value to every single one of those tasks. So for example, she's getting paid $35 an hour. If she went out and was doing operations related things, well, $35 an hour makes sense. She's getting paid to do operations. But some of the things on her list was like going out to Walmart to get, a few items for a staff party, or placing lunch reservations. Again, tasks that need to be done, but not $35 an hour tasks. Tasks that probably fit, maybe someone on more of an entry level or more of an administrative position. Long story short, when we laid it all down, the majority of her value wasn't $35 an hour. It was actually closer to $25 an hour. The company was losing almost $20,000 in value. And this was happening across the board. And so what did that data give me? Well, it gave me an opportunity to say, guys, we should free up your operations manager and start to delegate or automate or even eliminate so many of those things that are on her plate that aren't good value, so that she can bring increased value and increased profits to the company. And what do you know? We actually created within over a year projection, almost $80,000 was recovered in the business. That's no small amount. In fact, for them, that's probably about 2 full-time employees that can now generate revenue. So, hey, I'm all for tracking data. Again, there's so many tools, marketing, finance, sales. But I think one of the biggest things we can do is to pull out an Excel spreadsheet or a Google Sheet and start to do a productivity audit. Is the value of my role or someone else's role commensurate with what they're being paid? And again, I actually think it's a lesson in empowerment, because once we did that, the operations manager, she got to shine because her plate wasn't filled with things that at the end of the day, she wasn't even meant to do.
Yeah. Oh, I love that example. That is, I think those are the things that are that go under the radar. The founder of the company or the company managers might not know that that's occurring, right? They don't know that somebody that is a higher value, a higher paid employee shouldn't be really doing tasks that are like entry junior level, and they don't realize that's happening because they just want to get things done. Everyone wants to get things done, and they don't think about actually how much you're spending on it in a given day. That's kind of like, you don't want your visionary or your founder to be, stapling the paperwork. It's like, you really have to think about where you're utilizing your time and how much that time is worth to the company, depending on the task and the level they're at. So I think that is a really great tip, is the productivity audit. I like that. Actually, I think I'm going to use that. I think I'm going to go and implement that, because I learned so much from my guests that I get to get all this genius and even implement it in my own business. So I think that was really, really helpful. So is there like a basic measure? Like, I see you just said, like, go use an Excel sheet, right? And do a productivity audit. Is there anything else you just kind of strip down to the bare bones, old fashioned, like, to kind of come up with a like an indication of what's happening in a company? I mean, I get this, productivity. Is there anything else like it that you utilize that's pretty old school that works great?
Yeah, honestly, again, if we're going to stick old school and simple, something that would be super useful, again, you can do this on an Excel spreadsheet or a Google sheet, is I love to figure out what are the fixed costs in a business, right? So I want to know, what are the things that don't change? What are the software subscriptions that you're paying for? What's the overhead that you're putting in? Take those amounts and find out, right? And so now you're going to have a concrete number. Let's say it's $2,000 a month. What I want to do is I want to take that number and I want to divide it by the amount of revenue in each service or product that I have. So if I have 3 services, right? Like, I'll give you an example. I have a yoga client. So yoga memberships take up like 80% of their revenue. Okay. And then they do some drop-off classes, and then you do some workshops, 10% each. So 3 services out up to 100%. We take that fixed cost and we divide the amount of revenue in each of those 3 categories in, because what it does is it gives us an indication of how much profit there is to be had in each of the services and products. Why is that important? Again, just like I want to get full value and I want to make sure my employees are taken care of, I also want to make sure the things I'm putting energy into, the services and products, are also profitable. So many times we start going down this road of, again, for the yoga studio, they're like, we should run more workshops. We love workshops. There's plenty of buy-in. It's a ton of fun. Well, you know what? We did this exercise where we figured out fixed costs in relation to revenue. And it turns out, no, workshops are actually like 5% profitable. And so then when I presented them, they go, oh, that's a lot of work for 5%, when what we're doing for our yoga memberships is 30% profitable.
Yeah.
Again, good idea, may have some merit to it, but is it a long-term recipe for your business? Probably not, right? And again, it's this indication where there's so many numbers you can obsess over, but I want to obsess over, in particular, how is my energy and my labor being spent? What are my costs, and how can I find ways to make that more predictable? And also, what do I need to push the gas on? There's so many ways to make money, Christine, I'm sure even in your business, if you wanted to, you could have online courses and, like different things. There's different streams, but I want to pick what's the most leveraging. What's the most profitable? Life is a game of leverage. And I don't mean in terms of trying to get the upper hand or dog eat dog. That's not the kind of culture I'm trying to promote. I mean leverage in that, how can I do the most with what I have? So even if I have the least, I still want to do the best I can with what I've been given.
Yeah, I love that, because I recently posted a quote that said, it's not how many resources you have, it's how resourceful you are that matters. And this sort of kind of aligns with that, what you just said, and just getting your biggest bang for your buck, getting the most out of most leverage out of the work that you're doing, so that you can be very productive and efficient, right? I mean, those things are really key if you're running a business that is profitable. I mean, a lot of people run businesses and they're not profitable. I mean, they could be making revenue of like millions of dollars and not profiting, which I always think is so interesting, because sometimes you have these small businesses and they're way more profitable than these large businesses that are making millions and millions of dollars. And so what's the point, right? So very, very interesting, very important to analyze a lot of these key things. And I love that there is just this old school shorthand way of figuring it all out. I love all technology, but I also sometimes go, wait, why don't we just go back to the basics? Let's just go back to the basics, right? So that has been, I mean, I feel like there's so many more tips and strategies you can offer us to leverage and get your biggest bang for your buck and really work efficiently and get better outcomes and results. But we only have a short period of time on the show, so maybe you come back and we do that. But before we wrap up, tell us how people can reach you, and then I have a couple questions, like wrap up questions for you.
Yeah, great. So, I love to connect with people. So please feel free, reach out on Instagram or on LinkedIn. You can look me up, Matthew Sanjari, Sanjari on Instagram or LinkedIn, or you can go to my website, consultingbyprime.com, consultingbyprime.com.
Okay, and we're going to put your website on in the comments on the Facebook page, and that way people can find you if they wanted to. And there is a hashtag because you're going to be offering a freemium, I understand. Is that correct?
Yeah, I've got a free
Yeah.
ebook for everybody that's on the live today.
Awesome. And that is the hashtag is hashtag measure, manage, and shine. That is our hashtag for today. And go ahead and you can identify yourself by putting it in there. Again, the hashtag is hashtag measure, manage, and shine. And to wrap up the show, Matt, I would love for you to give us that one takeaway, that single takeaway that somebody who's been listening or watching this show, even if they don't take anything else away, what would be that one takeaway they should really think about?
Yeah, I love that question because I love to have a takeaway from anything, books, podcasts, anything. So you actually touched on it briefly, earlier, where you said at the end of the day, as entrepreneurs, leaders, high performers, doesn't matter. We're all going to have bad days. We're all going to have our moments where things are frustrating. You want to give up. Maybe the bills pile up. Maybe you're just defeated or demoralized. I want to encourage everybody to grasp reality now. And what do I mean by that? At the end of the day, I know it sounds not very encouraging, but it is. Pain, rejection, disappointment in business and in life, those are realities. But what I want to do is I want to extract purpose in the pain. So, if you're going to experience rejection in your business, if you're going to have a tough month where you feel like you're in the red, resolve to never let that happen again. Resolve to learn something from it. And I found that to be so useful for me. Again, we've all definitely had our moments. We've all messed up or, been on the short end of things. But I never want to let those mistakes happen more than once. I never want to let them become recurring things. So yeah, find the perspective in the pain.
Oh, I love that. Perspective in the pain. Love it. How about if you can give us a tip, just one quick tip about, the measuring and of the things that you manage, what would that tip be?
Yeah. So, we talked about the why. If you know and you identify what your core values are, it's really healthy to regularly do, whether it's a calendar audit, financial audit, or both, just regularly do a health check, right? We take our cars to the mechanics to make sure that we're aligned. We'll do the same. We'll go to the doctors and we'll get physicals. But oftentimes in our business or even our leadership, we don't do health checks. We don't do checks at all. So a regular assessment, whether self or accountable to somebody else, is super helpful. And that can look as easily as, hey, does my outflow manage my inflow? Are the things that are coming out of me, my time, my energy, my money, my resources, do they match the things that are inside of me that I want, my desires, my goals, the things that I'm good at? And if they don't, what do I need to change? A
Mm,
regular audit of that, a regular audit of that will always make sure that you never do veer too far off the path.
yeah. So we already know that you love to use Excel, spreadsheets, or Google Documents to create some of these pictures, right, of what's happening in the business. Would you say there's any other tools you like to use, or would you just say that those are it?
No, that's great. And honestly, one thing that I've really, really tried to use recently, I think it works for any business, is Trello. There's also a free version. I just love the visual. And people fight me on this because I'm also not a visual person, but I appreciate the visual. Is when things are visual, it becomes much less likely that you're going to forget something.
Yeah.
One of the first things I do, Christine, is I get everyone to workflow or just diagram what it looks like to have a successful business interaction from the moment someone's interested to the point where they leave a review for you, because hopefully they are. And it's amazing. When I ask them the question at first, everybody's got it lock and key, and they feel like, hey, this is what happens, this is what happens. Then I get them to write it down, and almost always they've forgotten something. There's something new that they wrote down that they hadn't said. And,
Yeah.
and so Trello is just a great way to make sure that you stay on top and that no detail gets missed. And it's a great tool for collaboration to make sure that others can see your blind spots.
Oh my gosh, I live by Trello. I love Trello. I have it myself, and that's how we designed the whole podcast, and I love it. I agree completely on that one. Action item, let's put people right into action with the tools, thoughts, and information we gave them today. One action item.
Yeah, one action item. Go do a financial audit. Just go actually look at what you're spending money on. Because I promise you, once you do that, even if you feel good about yourself, it's probably going to make you think about how you're spending your time next. If
Yeah.
time really is equal to money, like we like to say, well, how you spend your money is probably going to give you some insight into how you spend your time. So go look at your bank account, go look at your cards. What are you spending money on?
Oh my gosh. So basically today we covered all the audits, right? Financial audit, productivity audit, and time audit. So all these audits of these important commodities in our life, right? Money, time, and productivity. And I think that should be the theme of the show. So that was awesome. And I left something on the shelf early on in the show, and I'm just gonna end with it because I like to stay true to my word, because I said I would come back to it, and it might be like a cliffhanger for maybe our next show. But your motto: build people, build business. Here's my question around that that I was kind of saving. If we talked about building people, because people are the core of the ideas and all the things, and thoughts are things, and then that's how we create these amazing legacies and businesses and so forth. But how do you think the age of AI is going to impact how you feel about that motto?
Oh, that is a really good question. It's funny, someone actually asked me something similar. And at the end of the day, to me, there's been so many technological advances. AI is just the newest one. But at the end of the day, you know what outlives technology and has, predated technology? People. And, we're a resilient bunch. And so I believe that from a culture and leadership perspective, we just need to make sure that we leverage technology so that we as humans and we as people continue to just be the main thing. We're the main thing. And so I always want to use AI or technology in general to, like I gave the example with the operations manager, just to fill in the gaps and make things more efficient so I can do what only I do. And that's build relationship, because AI is not that great at that.
Yeah, so that aligns with the thought that I've heard a couple speakers say in the last year, where when I've been talking to people about AI, is that AI will never replace people, but people who use AI will replace people that don't. So it's about how we use it as humans. So it does all boil down to the human being. So Thank you for the insight on that. Perhaps it is a cliffhanger for our next show, or maybe it's just a really good ending thought. But there you have it, Waist Up Wardrobe Nation. Thank you, Matthew, for being here. And that was our show today. It was kind of like this very diverse show. We talked about productivity and auditing from a financial and time perspective, and just some really good golden nuggets about entrepreneurship and values, your core values and your why. I mean, we covered it really all. We covered all the things that are important to entrepreneurs, but I think that we did kind of drill down to this idea of checking our work, checking what's happening in the business through these ideas of auditing our businesses financially, through these ideas of auditing the productivity of the people that are part of your team, and through auditing your time to make sure that what you're spending your time, energy, and money on are actually what matters to you, so that you are consistent and your brand is cohesive and it is accomplishing your deep fundamental vision and why. So we're here again next Thursday at 11:30 live. Please join us and invite a friend. How was that for you?
I thought it was great. How was that for you?
It was great. I loved it. It was really good information. And it was, I love this whole kind of theme of the auditing of all these areas that kind of came through. So thank you so much for all that wisdom and information. I really appreciated it.
Yeah, thanks for having me. So sorry about the internet there for a little bit.
No. Yeah, I mean, we went through the whole half of the show like that, but I thought it would correct itself and it didn't. And then it started getting even worse. I was like, I gotta let him know. Were you seeing that too, or no?
No, it was fine on my end. That's why I was confused. I was like, and I started to clue in because I could tell that there was a bit of a delay in your response, but on my end, it looked fine.
Yeah, you were all jumbled up, and yeah, but after you came back on, it was great. Rick, how'd it go?
Yeah, it was great. You covered well.
I tried. I was trying to be the analytics expert while he was gone.
Yeah, it was all good.
Yeah.
All good.
Well, thank you so much for your time, Matthew. And I have met some really fantastic guests through Podmatch that have been on my show. And I'm trying to kind of build a partner sort of community around some of these experts that I'm meeting. And so I just ask your permission if I can, when I get my thoughts together around that, if I could send you an email to see if you wanted to opt in to be part of that group of people where we can.
I'd love that.
All right. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, guys.
All right, bye.
Nice meeting you, Matt. Take care.
Cheers.
Okay. Well, so at the beginning, when Matt was on, I actually did see that, but you guys didn't catch that when you guys were on?
No, I saw it. I thought it would settle, but there's nothing you can do about it. I mean, if you mention it, there's nothing that you can do about it, right?
But he did it. He fixed it after that. So I'm wondering what happened.
He just reset. I booted him from the studio so he could come back in. Because your internet was really bad too.
Oh, what? I thought it was fine. I didn't see anything.
Yeah. No, your internet was the image off your internet was really bad. The voice was fine. It was synced and everything, but it was very low resolution, very pixely.
His or mine?
Yours. Really?
Okay, because I saw already on mine.
Yeah, then it started going downhill with both of you, and then I thought, okay, I'd say any second I'm gonna pull a trigger and boot Matthew because his got worse.
Yeah. Yeah. So how is that going to translate into the final? Are we going to?
Sometimes we don't see it. Sometimes we don't see it.
Oh,
right?
Really?
And sometimes we do.
Yeah.
So we'll just have to see on the recording.
Okay. And then there was that little part where he had to go out of the studio. Is that possible to cut it at all or no?
Well, yeah, probably not till I get home though.
No, I know, but yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I can take all that stuff out.
Okay. And when are you back?
25th.
Okay. Because a lot to
So
talk.
next week's show, I'm going to be remote again.
Okay.
So I need the stuff early.
Okay.
And then your show, I'll be back for your show if you end up doing one.
Okay, so let's do this. Should we record the speedy recap, or we can't do that?
Yep. Yeah, let's go.
Let's do that, and then do you have a second? Let's go offline so I can. I want to discuss things.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So, is the resolution okay right now, or how is it?
Yeah, now it's fine. Now it's fine.
Okay, interesting. Because
you know what it almost looked like? It looked like it was trying to connect to your Wi-Fi or something.
That's too bad. Okay, I didn't realize that. Okay, it's fine.
Yeah, there's nothing you can do about it. So.
Yeah. Okay. Well, maybe it's because I've been so out of commission, that maybe yeah. Okay. It's fine.
When you're ready.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. Want to be able to look at your analytics in your business so that you can figure out what is working and what isn't working, what's getting you results, what actions you should stop doing because it's not getting you any results. Okay, I have to do that over again. I think it was kind of weird, right? Yeah.
Yeah, try it again.
Okay. Are you auditing your analytics and looking at them, measuring what you manage so that your results can be more productive? I'm going to start over again. Are you measuring and weighing the analytics in your business so that you can see how they're impacting your bottom line and the kind of results you're getting?
Okay.
Or is that too staccato? Was it too short and weird? You think I should do it?
Yeah, try it one more time.
Okay. Want to be able to measure and quantify and analyze your results. Okay, start over again. Want to be able to measure, quantify, and analyze the want to be able to analyze and quantify your analytics in your business so that you can get better results and stop doing things that don't work, but rather also keep things that are.
Yeah, that'll work.
That's better. Okay. Fixed cost and business overhead. Take away. Select it. Default by design. In episode 161, measure what you manage. The waste up wardrobe. In waste up wardrobe episode 161, manage. In episode 161 of Waist Up Wardrobe, Measure What You Manage, the main takeaway boiled down to this. You want to run your business by design, not by default. Is that good? As a takeaway?
Yeah,
I know
yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Continue with your thought there.
Okay. And then I'm going to go to tools, and tips. Like that was a takeaway. You got that?
Yeah.
Okay. Believe it or not, the main tool that our guest lives by is the Excel spreadsheet or a Google spreadsheet to really sit down and hash out all the analytics in the business so that he can audit businesses and really understand what's going on in them. And one great tip we talked about during the show was his auditing methods. These tips about auditing your financials, so financial audits, the tips about auditing your time, your productivity audit, and auditing productivity auditing. As well as an energy audit. Find out where you are spending your time and think about if that's aligned with your ultimate values and goals. And finally, action item. Go through your business financials and do a consistent financial audit. Like if you want to do that monthly or every quarter, it's really important to financially audit your business so that you can see where you're spending your money and what your profitability is.
Okay.
Good enough? Good enough, right?
Yep.
Okay. All right. So why don't we kill the stream?